dodge Omicron. So far. Unless you live under a rock or all you watch are cat TikToks, you know Omicron has just come on the scene. Our guards were down, you're vax, let's clown. We'll dance and kiss and fuck around. Here, smoke my joint, I'm sure your lips are clean. Then the text came in from all my friends. They start to fall like bowling pins. But my turn, it just never ever came. Which logically does not make sense. My body's starting to get tense. The news must be right here on its way. But Omicron ditched me like I'm not funny. Omicron ditched me like I weighed him down. He ditched me like a senior prom when me and my date won't get along. Omicron decided to skip town. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to be healthy. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to be well. But for me, I hate to be left out. Pandemic, FOMO, and a friendship drought. Exposed alone and all at Christmas time. And really not even a little tickle. Temperature stuck at 98.6. I'm just a bit surprised is all. We all attended the same ball. I guess the booster helped me after all. Omicron ditched me like we weren't vibing. Omicron ditched me like I'm no fun. He ditched me like a deadbeat dad whose cover band is not so bad. If only they would learn a few more songs. I know Omicron is still out there lurking. He's hiding all inside most of your mouths. The CDC has just announced Omicron, it's time to pounce. Pack your bags and grab your 95s. I'll admit this is a weird kind of FOMO. And I know that COVID is not a joke. Yeah, I don't take the virus light, and I'm happy that he didn't bite. Yeah, Omicron missed me like the plague. Omicron, he ditched my little body. Omicron said I'm good, love and joy. He made the choice and said I'll pass even though I got a big fat ass. Omicron is not the match for me.
Time for
Duh. Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello! Wow, I missed you. Happy season 2 and welcome back if you've been rocking with me. And welcome home if you're new. Unless it's a Quentin Tarantino movie, usually the best place to start is the beginning. So that's what I'll do. Early in the month of December, I started planting seeds to throw a little New Year's Eve party. Ooh. I was getting some feelers on who would come, curating a menu and a playlist and outfit coordination, etc., etc. Then, one by one, all over New York City, everyone started getting Omicron. There was a solid 9-day span where I knew at least 3 new people a day getting infected. I laid low, I didn't go anywhere but work, and I still got exposed the Tuesday before Christmas. So I spent a solid 8.5 days alone on my couch. I had some PCRs in between, some at-homes, but alas, no Omicron. Although the alone time was so unique, so rare, and I kind of dug it, the day finally came where it was safe for me to go visit my family. I was feeling really refreshed. It was weird to spend the actual holiday alone, but it kind of felt like that's how a lot of people were doing it. So if you were alone on the holiday, just know you weren't alone on the holiday. I ended up spending New Year's Eve with my parents, and we got drunk and had a great time. Cheers, baby. Look, there's no bright side to Omicron, but if you do find yourself in a situation where you have the privilege to adapt and change with what's going on, then do it. Things have a way of working out. For example, I may have not been able to party the way I expected to the last 2 weeks of December, but I did rediscover Ashlee Simpson's first album. A reminder to anyone who may have forgotten, no skips. And some more positive news, while I was on hiatus, I went viral the good kind. I made and originated, for anyone on the internet who's cropping my handle out, a tweet involving the CDC, Snooki, and the infamous note typed up by Snooki and JWoww from early days Jersey Shore. I tagged the whole cast, and at the end of the day, I had a feeling that one of them might have shared it, so I looked at all their stories, and I was right. Wow had reposted me. I couldn't believe it. And maybe some of you listening don't think it's a big deal to go viral, and you know what? You're wrong. Bitch, it is a big deal to go viral. And I'm gonna remember the post that popped my viral virginity forever, ever. Obviously, because of the news spike, I am still mindlessly swiping through the dating apps. My God, dating during the pandemic it is what it is. It has its ups, it has its downs, it has its lows. It has its highs, it has its softs, and it has its hards. Do you feels? I feels. A couple weeks ago, I matched with a guy, and he started the conversation with me, and baby, did he come in hot. This is his opening verbatim. Look, you seem fun, but I can't have any attachments. I just got out of something heavy, and you have to be okay with that. We can keep it casual, knowing it probably won't go anywhere past that. Sorry to be harsh. Are you okay with this? To which I replied, yeah, my guy, we've never spoken a word to each other. I'll be fine. Quite an opener. But I tried to be empathetic because breakups are tough, and who knows the last time this dude tried to navigate the dating scene. So I assumed he wanted to trauma bond. Doesn't everybody? Hello. Or at least vent to me. So I started asking questions. How long since your breakup? Have you had much luck on here? Is dating really different since the last time you've done it? And he said to me, how many more questions do I have to answer before you'll fuck me? Gulp, am I right? The tact with this heartbroken swiper must have gone out the door with his ex-girlfriend. Had to unmatch him, but the answer was 8. They're not all bad, though. Trust me. There are some gems out there. Speaking of gems, that brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stoned thoughts of the week. Number 1, anybody still drinking Welch's grape juice these days? Number 2, think of all the last names that have gone extinct because there was no one to carry them on. Whoa. Number 3, I'm not trying to do extra shit in 2022. Put it on a t-shirt. And number 4, wouldn't it be fun if there was a summer camp for millennials who felt like they didn't get to bang enough people in college? Hear me out. You live in the dorms, so you have to get creative on where to bang. Same as college. You take classes that you've curated for yourself. Same as college. This gives sexual tension some time to build. Just like college. And you just don't have a bunch of free time because there's extracurriculars. Maybe you go for 4 months. Look, I haven't worked out the logistics, but I think a lot of people would be down for this. Maybe there could even be scholarships, but instead of writing papers, you got scholarships based on how much you volunteered or donating. I'm spitballing here like a philanthropist, but I need someone else to do the nitty-gritty on how to execute something like this because, as I mentioned, I'm not doing extra shit. My guest this week is comedienne Daphnique Springs. Daphnique has toured with some of comedy's heaviest hitters. She's constantly producing hilarious content that you can find on her TikTok and Instagram, and she is the host of the podcast Unapologetically Daphnique. Her wild word was pineapple, so grab a slice and stick around, baby. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Wild Nights with Rocky, on Twitter at Wild Nights Pod. You can also watch and subscribe on YouTube for extended interviews with all of my guests. To everyone who's written a review on Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. It really does make a difference. And to those of you who haven't yet, here is a future thank you, or I guess a past thank you, for when you pause and you write one right now. Welcome back. And without further ado, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation and first guest of season 2, Daphnique Springs. Daphnique, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Rocky.
This is amazing. I had the pleasure of meeting you in person, and when you introduced yourself, I already knew who Daphnique Springs was, but just to that quick introduction in person, you kind of like need to put 2 and 2 together. So it is just, I'm just honored to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure being here today.
Absolutely. How are you liking your time in New York? You are originally, I know you're originally from Florida, but you are mainly a LA comedian, and now you're over to the East Coast. You joined us over here. How are you liking it so far?
I'm liking it a lot. The snow still hasn't hit the ground yet, so I don't know what to expect. But right now, while the streets are clean and icy free, I'm enjoying myself. But that can all change in the next month or so.
And I assure you it will. The snowstorms in New York are like this. They are beautiful if you have nothing to do that night, and the next day you get some alcohol, get some food, get whatever, have a couple friends that you shack up with, put some movies on, but the next day it's all slush and water and rain and delayed trains. So that's something, that's a little tidbit, a little fun fact about the city.
Oh, Lord. I'm not looking forward to it.
No, it's a grind though. But the weather, if the weather could be spring and fall in New York all the time, it would be easy to navigate. Yes, it would be very easy to navigate. A tropical weather, like a place where you could find maybe a pineapple. We got plenty of mosquitoes.
Okay. Pineapple.
Pineapple. So Daphnique's wild word was pineapple. Daphnique, I know I'm excited to hear your story. I know the Party God Squad is excited to hear your story. So give us your wild night story, pineapple.
My wild night story, pineapple, is one time I was in Vegas and my homegirl tried to sell me and her for a 2-for-1 deal. And unbeknownst to me, she was selling pussy.
Okay, so let's rewind it back just a little bit. So you go to Vegas. Now, was this did you go with your friend to Vegas, or did you meet her there?
My friend, she actually lives in Vegas.
Okay.
And I was visiting her, and my mom and my family lives down there. So nice. I was just visiting, and she was like, hey, let's go out. And I was like, yeah, let's go hit some casinos, maybe meet some people.
Of course.
Because Vegas is a great place to meet people, meet some guys, and then you go out to eat or you go to the club or whatever and get everything paid for expense free.
Yeah.
To you. But the guys are taking, because everybody wants to live it up in Vegas and have a good time, and they like to have women around. So you could really come up on just some nice fun.
Perfect. So you go to visit her and you're having a nice time. How does the subject of selling your pussy come up?
Okay, it never came up. That is the problem. But I missed all the signs, because if you don't know that someone's living that type of lifestyle, you don't assume that's what you guys are going out to do.
Absolutely.
But here's the signs, because you know how life works. Once you get into the situation, your mind goes back all the way back to be like, oh, shoot, I missed the signs. How could I be so naive?
Right.
She kept saying in the beginning of the night, before the night started, that she needed some money. Okay. And I'm thinking yo, my naive mind, my non-selling vagina mind, I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, maybe we just go gamble. I know it's a high stakes that you could lose, but maybe we'll come up on some money at the casino by gambling, which is crime free.
Right. And also, you're to have a friend say that. I mean, there's got to be a level of trust, number one, for them to admit, like, hey, I don't have the money. For you came to visit, but we're in a party city. We are in an expensive city. I don't have the money to hang. That's kind of like, you prepare ahead of time for a friend coming into town, and you either have to be real with them right off the jump, or you've got to put it on a credit card. That's
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And she was real about it, but when I think of that, like, you don't have any money, like you said, to hang. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, cool, I'll pay for the drinks. If we gotta pay to get into a club, it's no more than like $20 or $40. I got you.
Yeah.
But the money she was talking about was money I wasn't willing to give, and that was rent money. So when she kept saying she didn't have any money, I'm just thinking to myself, oh, Vegas is a little slow because she's a cocktail waitress. So maybe times are slow. People aren't tipping because it's very a seasonal city,
Gotcha.
So then she was like, yeah, we got to meet some people. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you're going with the flow.
We gonna have a good time, like whoop-de-doo-de-doo. Don't be, club hopping all night. And then at the end of the night, my favorite thing to do is say, all right, I had a good time, bye. Not looking for any sex partners down in Vegas. So then we ended up meeting this guy, and we were going through the casino. If you're walking through casinos, people will grab you up. But first, let me stop. First, we went to the Cosmopolitan, right?
Okay.
So the Cosmopolitan, a really nice casino. Now that I look back, it was obvious that she was selling vagina because we were going to the nice casinos, right? So the more expensive casinos, you don't go to expensive places if you can't afford it, because it's so many like, D-list casinos that you can go to and still have a great time.
Right.
So we were at, top notches like the Cosmo, the Aria. So we're at that casino. And I remember that we went into the Cosmo and we were hanging around the bar, and she was just trying to like get to know people. And I was like, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. So I was like, you want to go? She was like, no, I'm good. Just go to the bathroom. I'll be right here. So then when I came back from the bathroom, she had met this guy and was talking to him. So I'm like, oh, maybe he's just going to go upstairs to one of the nightclubs. We'll go into the club with him. And then security for the Cosmopolitan pulled her to the side, and I'm like, that's my friend. So I go stay. They kept saying to her, not tonight. And I was like, what do you mean? How they were like, you guys need to leave. And I was like, I didn't even do anything. And the guy was like, yeah, not tonight. So I asked her when the security finally like watched us as we was exiting the casino, like, what the hell just happened?
And they know her. Like, that's a statement that they're saying, like, we know you. And
we know
it's not
you,
happening.
And not tonight. Keep it moving. Take your action to some other casino.
Right.
So I was like, what? She was like, I think they think we're prostitutes. I was like, I'm not no damn prostitute.
Yeah.
I'm a working comedian. So I don't know. Sue this place. Well, I guess if you hang out with hoes, you get labeled as a hoe.
You are who you hang with.
Okay, so you birds of a feather flock together. So that night I was seen as a hoe too. So I was like, how dare they? We should talk to the manager. This is discrimination.
Yeah.
Why? We're not even, because I never dressed like provocative. Like she was kind of dressed provocative, but like more so like, breasts out, short skirt tight. And I'm walking around in jeans and the shirt. And I was like, how dare they? This is discrimination. This is a lawsuit. I don't deserve to be treated like
You're ready to get paid, but for something else.
Okay. For the lawsuit, not for the vagina.
Yup.
So then she was like, no, let's just let it go. We just go to the Aria. So then we go over to the Aria. Yeah. So we meet this guy. And he was really like nice looking. He was actually handsome. He had muscles and stuff like that. And he was like, hey, what you ladies doing? And I was like, oh yeah, we're just, looking for something to do. And then he was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm about to go to this club. You want to roll? And then I was like, absolutely. So she was like, cool. So like, we go to the casino with him.
Well, let me ask you this. So you're with, because I've been out with girlfriends before where it's just maybe one guy will approach us and you kind of like, okay, it would be great if you had a friend. Was he kind of feeling you more, feeling her more, or was it just group hang vibes?
It was more so like the Vegas is different than
Okay.
just going out of any other city, because the more women you're with, the better you look in Vegas. So it
Gotcha.
was like he was cool with the 2-for-1 deal.
Okay. And you both were okay with that too, because you, like you said, you're
Yeah,
ready
because
to
I'm
get
not
paid.
trying to marry this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to go back to whatever city you are. I'm not trying to build a relationship. I'm just trying to have a good time while I'm in Vegas and not pay for anything.
Love
That's
it.
my goal,
So
right?
yep. And so he wants to take you to the next spot, the next club.
So he was like, yo, like, I know some people at this casino, the MGM, let's roll over to the MGM. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, cool. So as we gradually starting to move, because you know the casino, he's like, yeah, we just catch an Uber over there or whatever. But my homegirl was like, well, before we leave, I need a drink. You know, drinks is when you start to edge up. Because have
Yeah.
you noticed people and strippers can never really do this shit sober? They can
Ooh.
never sell the vagina or show it sober.
Right. It's got to be
They
like, you got
have
to have a
it
little buzz on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a little buzz or
Mhm.
just messed up.
Right, right, right,
So
right.
I didn't know. I don't drink when I go out. Like if
Okay.
I'm amongst friends and we having a good time or it's a vibe, I'll take shots. But I'm not really a drinker, especially in a place like Vegas, because you know anything could happen, right?
You have to be careful. You have to be careful.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
good thing I was careful, because let me get to the
Keep
meat of the
going.
story.
Yes, please.
So we get over to the MGM, and the vibe is really cool. This guy's a really nice guy. He's a gentleman or
Mhm.
whatever. And then so you know, she gets like more drinks. She gets over to the MGM. She's like, I need another drink.
Yeah.
And then so I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm thinking to myself, you're already on like drink 3 or 4. Like we having a good time. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to start to babysit you.
Mm-mm.
So then I remember she's by this time, by this 4th drink, she's drunk.
Okay.
And she fell in the casino. Her heel broke in the casino and she fell. And I literally had tears rolling down my face.
Yeah.
She had tears rolling down her face. Hers was like a real cry. And,
Oh.
and mine was laughing, because I'm like, why would you get this drunk? Like you're
Yeah.
literally weak. The guy is like, he stood off to the side while I picked her up, but he didn't care. He was like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
So we go into the club. He has some type of access or whatever. He wasn't from there, but he probably comes to Vegas all the time.
Yeah.
So then so we're in the club and we're having a good time. And then he sees that she's like getting drunker and drunker. So he keeps feeding her drinks, right? And I'm like off to the side, like, oh shit, I gotta babysit tonight,
Yeah.
but like I can't drink at all. Like I gotta keep my eyes open.
Of course.
And then so I see him pull out a Molly out of his pocket, and he has the drink and he pours it in there and he hands it to her, and I snatched. I was like, no, she's not doing that,
Yeah.
because she's already drunk. Like
And
you
you
don't
knew it was Molly?
yeah, I know what Molly looks
Mhm.
like. It's just a capsule of pill. I mean, shit, unless they making crack in a pill or meth in a pill,
Well,
it had to be Molly.
I only say that because you never know what kind of anything can go in a capsule. You know what I mean? Like they can put Molly in a capsule, but sometimes Molly looks like a Flintstone vitamin. Sometimes it's just a powder. So that's why I asked if
powder and a pill.
Okay, okay.
Like a you know those little
the clear ones.
vitamin pills. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very small though.
Mm-hmm.
So he opened the capsule of the pill and he poured it in there. And then it was like, and handing it to her, and I saw it all. I was like, hey, don't give it to her.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he was just shrugged and he drunk the whole drink.
Okay.
And then so then I was like, hey, you need to go to the bathroom or anything? She was like, yeah. She's like really drunk by this time.
Right.
And then so I'm like, what's going on? She was like, girl, he said that he was going to give me some money. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because people do get money out of Vegas. Right. I was in Vegas one time and I was walking by this casino table. And this older man, he was like, hey, do you know how to play? And I said, no. And he was like, well, sit down. I'll show you how to play. But remind you, I know how to play Baccarat very well.
Right.
So he put $300 on the table. And when he put $300 on the table, I was like, I won. He put his bet on banker and I put mine on player. And he tried to put both on banker, but I pushed my bet up last minute and then I won. Ooh. And then so they gave his 300 plus my 300. So I picked the 600 up and put it in my pocket. And then he was like, hey, and then the pit boss was like, you gave it to her. It's her money now. Mm-hmm. So, and he was just like, well, can I at least know your name? So I gave him a fictitious name.
Of course.
So I know people will give you money in Vegas. So I'm like, okay, yeah, get him to get some money.
Yeah.
was like, yeah, okay. And then so I'm hyping her up, like, get that money, girl, because maybe he just want to go gambling and give you money. So I'm like, yeah, maybe give us both some money.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, so I'm just still naive. So he was like, so now it's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So he goes, we leave all the club or whatever. We go by a couple of casino tables, gamble for a minute. And she was like, girl, I think I should he wants me to come up to the room. And I was like, well, you want to have sex with this guy? And then so she was like, yeah, like, I think he's cool. I was like, well, you've been kind of drinking. Like, I don't know if that's a good idea. She was like, no, I really like him. It's a vibe. And I'm not going to stand in someone's sexual preferences or whatever. So she was like, well, can you just come up there with me? And I was like, well, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really feel comfortable. And then she was like, he's cool. But he did seem like, I'm very good at reading people.
Yeah.
He seemed like he didn't seem like someone that would hurt us. And plus it's Vegas with so many cameras. Yeah. I doubt that he'll take us up there and try to kill us. You know what I mean?
Right. It would be very risky.
So it'll be hella risky. He'll get caught. Like, this dude has to just be a sociopath. And I didn't get that. Now he's on Molly. So if he's on Molly, like, I might can take him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so like, oh, yeah, I can take it all day.
So good.
I'm sober. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's on Molly. She's drunk. I could get an object like a lamp and just kill everybody. Like, I'm the murderer now.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So
then we go up there. She tells him to go in the room and whatever. She was like, yeah, you know, he said he'll give me some money. I said, what are you doing? She was like, yeah, like, I don't know. I told him like $350. I was like, $350 for what? She was like, because he just wants to like have a good time. I said, so you're selling pussy?
Yeah.
She was like, girl, I just need some money right now. Could you just sit in because it was a suite. Could you just wait in the living room, make sure everything okay? So I was like, okay, like, you know, now I done came this far. Yeah. I'm this far.
Oh yeah, you need the end of the story. You need the end of the story at least, yeah.
Because I don't like to be a witness to things. So I don't want, if anything happened later, I gotta write a report. So let me just stay in there and just see what's going on. Yeah. So he gives her like $350, right? He gives her the cash up right in front of me. Right in front. And so they go to the room and he was just like, she was like, well, do you want to come in here and watch? And I was like, no, I don't want to watch you have sex. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, I don't watch porn, but like, it's porn available. Like, I'm not trying to watch my friend.
This is not the way.
Guy. And then she was like, okay. So she goes to the room or whatever. And she closes the door. He opens the door. Remind you, I could see in there. Yeah. And then he was like, I heard him in there like, well, why not? What's going on with her? So I think that she was trying to sell us both. And then so he was like, then he comes out like, Bo, like, so are you gonna join us? And I was like, no. And then he was like, but I gave her $350. And I'm like, first of all, my price wouldn't have been $350. So I don't know where you got this $350 for. Because really $350, that's $175. And what? I mean, I don't know the price of vagina, but
I think it's up there.
Like, I make pretty good money. Like, at $175, I mean, like, I need $100,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So I'm like, no. And then he was like, all right, cool. So then he had sex with her. And then she was like, girl, okay, let's go now. And then I was just looking at her like, what just happened? Yeah. What just happened? And how did I get here? And why did I stay the whole time? Yeah. And she was like, well, thank you for watching my back. And she gave me $50. So I made $50 for doing nothing but being a lookout for who? Like,
I mean, that is $50 just for being a good friend throughout the night. I mean, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. You know what I mean? You could make that at the tables, or you could make that with your ear pressed against the door.
No, the door was open. The door was still open. The door was still open. I could see right up in that puppy.
So were you kind of watching, or were you like looking for the nearest magazine or scrolling through your phone? Like, I can't believe.
Scrolling through my phone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And and now that I think about it, she wasn't really worth the $350.
300?
Very lazy drunk sex.
Gotcha.
she wasn't worth the 350. Maybe that's why he had a little rebuttal, like, yo, I thought this was 2, because
Yeah.
after it was said and done, I was like, she's not worth the 350.
She's not worth the 350 special.
Okay. So yeah, but that was just a crazy night. And then so I'm thinking to myself, my mind is like racing, like, yo, you've met my family.
Yeah.
Like, girl, like, you've met my family. Like, how did you get here?
Yeah.
But we just never talked about it after that. And I was just like, wow, like, times are rough. And then it causes you to be more grateful in life. Like,
yes.
God, I'm able to just be able to live and take care of myself and not be in Vegas. And then another thing too, he wouldn't give her his phone number.
He was like, "Oh, you think maybe married vibes?"
Yeah,
kind of.
He said he was married.
Oh, he said he was married.
Yeah,
yes.
he was married and had kids, and he didn't want like to exchange numbers.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Imagine he was lying about being married. He's like, you know what? I'm married. Never contact me again. Well, that's wild indeed. Thank you so much for sharing that. And did you hang out, like, you were in Vegas visiting her, obviously. Did you hang out with her again? Did you go out again?
Not after that day, like, just like that same week. But yeah, she's still my friend.
Good.
I accept people for who they are.
Yeah, you have to.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You have to. You have to.
You never know what somebody else is like really. Because I remember when I was younger, like in my 20s, I had this one friend. She corrected me. She was older than me, maybe like 13 years older than me, and I used to be like, that person's selling their soul.
Mm-hmm.
And she said something that was very real. She said, selling your soul is different for every individual.
Wow.
And so I was like, wow. So your definition of selling your soul isn't someone else's definition of selling their soul.
Wow.
It could be somebody else's definition of survival.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, it, just because of the way everyone is brought up differently, everyone has to do different obstacles as a child, and some people have no obstacles as a child. So, yeah, that is, the shock factor for some people, their bar is higher.
Absolutely.
And when things like that happen, when you see your friend kind of lure you into a situation where she's having sex for money, unexpected and unbeknownst to you that's where the direction of the night and the objective of the night was going, then, next time a friend does something that's a little lower on the bar, or a person does something that's a little lower on the bar, you'll be like, listen, my friend lured me into a hotel with a guy and got paid $350. Like, you cannot shock me. So that selling the soul comment is pretty interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
pretty pineapples.
Pineapples. Where did the pineapples come from?
The pineapples is just like like, it's a garnish on alcoholic drinks.
There you go. Pineapples brings it all home. Well, Daphnique, you have a bit of a wild trajectory right now. You have featured for Martin Lawrence. You have gone on tour with Cat Williams.
Yes.
That is, that is some top-notch shit.
Earlier in my career. Where are they now? No, I'm just joking. But yeah, so it's been a journey, in just comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
As you would know, it's just like a journey.
It is.
And I used to not appreciate that journey, but I'm like, I've had some accomplishments, and just have so much further to go. But it was pretty cool touring with those people, because you see comedy on a rock star level.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So things are achievable.
When you let's go to like a first opening night, first night on tour, you do this, you're obviously ready. You wouldn't be given the position that you were given if you weren't ready for it. But you get up there, of course the nerves are probably going, but then once you get into it, is it just everything flushes out of you and you're in your home space? Yeah,
once you get your first laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that first laugh is what you're waiting on.
That's amazing. Now, for 2022, you have a podcast as well.
Yes.
Do we have any plans to continue that? Unapologetically Daphnique?
Yeah, so because of my schedule, I decided to do seasons.
Okay, beautiful. Yes.
Instead of every single week of my life, just seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So season 1 is completed. It's out.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 coming soon next year.
Coming soon. Yeah, you have a really great voice for podcasting. I listened to a couple of the episodes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and I listened to, I guess, what would be the season finale episode. You had a comedian on and you two were talking about a bunch of stuff. And you just have you have a very warm and welcoming voice, but then like you'll say something really raunchy, and that's like very much my vibe. I feel like I try to be like really warm and welcoming, but then, I'll say something kind of nasty. And
Okay.
and it's always like
On.
and you have to push it on them. So I love that kind of comedy, and I love listening to it, and just kind of watching you do your thing. I know you also mentioned on your show that you got recognized. Was it in Africa? You said you got recognized? No. Oh, or was it Bali?
Africa and Dubai.
Dubai. And
that's from social media though.
That must have been an incredible feeling.
Absolutely. Dubai was the story. When I was in Dubai, when I first arrived at the hotel, they have like 5 and 6-star hotels there.
Yeah.
So we arrived, and I didn't know it's not like America. America, one person can just, if me and you are sharing a hotel room, just one person can check in. So we had the double joining rooms,
Gotcha.
Where you can open a door and you be in your friend's room.
Yeah.
And everybody has to check in their passports. So I turned to my friends. I said, "Hey, you guys, I need your passports." And this lady, she comes up to me like right here. She said, "Daphne, is it you?" And I'm like, "What the hell?
What is about to happen?"
She was like, "I know you from your voice." And I said, "Hey." She was like, "Yes, I watch you all the time. I love you. Thank you so much for coming here." And then I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then a lot of my videos online are the crazy girlfriend.
Yeah.
And when I first got started, it was a crazy girlfriend with a gun. I'm from South Florida. You can have a gun.
Yeah.
So when I walked through the mall in Dubai, I had these Muslim women where you can only see their eye, and they were fully covered. And as I walked through, because we were the only person walking through at that moment, they started clapping. And then when I looked over, they started bowing to me. And then I was like, oh, because in America, it's like, oh, you're crazy. But in other countries, it can be self-empowering for a woman to be able to not be controlled by a man.
Right.
So that's when I learned that sometimes what you think is just your art, like art has different meanings for different people.
Mm-hmm.
So in America, it's like, oh, you're the crazy girl. But in other countries, that art was looked at as thank you for having a voice for us because we have no voice.
That's beautiful. And it's true. I think, when you're putting out content, and this is why I can't with trolls and just negative comments, because if it's not something where, it's literal abuse, I'm not talking hateful stuff. I'm talking people just putting out funny content or stuff that's meaningful to them or coming from their true spirit. These people, there's so many options for channels now. Every person is every entertainer, and not even entertainers, people, postal workers and UPS workers, anybody who's doing, your standard 9 to 5 job can be an entertainer now because of the internet. And you can curate your own channels. So why are we throwing hate at somebody who is being funny or doing their thing if that channel works for other people? Just like turn the channel,
because I think people live in a world where everybody nowadays has their own opinion and their life and how they operate and maneuver and all the things that have made them up into the person that they are today, environment, childhood traumas, everything that have embodied this person. They feel like the world should operate solely how they operate, and it's impossible to please every single person. So at the end of the day, if a comment is just very hateful and attacking towards me, I will block it. But other than that, sometimes I let them be festive and have a good time. As you build a bigger following, when someone is hateful, your fans will attack them. So they're not gonna let that go down. And they'll be like, "Oh, you're hateful, you're miserable." So I don't even have to do the groundwork anymore. But and also sometimes you just get look at it as constructive criticism. Some of them can give you some things or they're very particular. So you like, oh shit, that does kind of make sense, or here's a way I can get better. But and sometimes they just, I like them haters too because of the algorithm.
Yeah.
Nobody comments more than a hater because then they'll start getting into it with 10 other people.
Yeah.
So now you're just making me bigger. You're just making me more money.
Yeah, they're watering your life. Yeah, that
Yeah.
anybody who's out there hating, I guess people don't realize that. And also probably, you know, when you see a comment that is hateful or that is mean or just unnecessary, that probably feels like, oh shit, I made it somewhere. That's great.
Hey, you talking about me? Why does she keep turning up, showing up on my timeline? Block me. Block. You can block fan pages. You can block social
You
media
can block
pages,
anybody.
but they'll come up. Some of them come on there and hate it on a daily basis because they just want my attention.
Yeah.
Because one man, he was coming on there, he was saying I'm racist. I'm like, what the? I'm not even talking about black and white people. What the hell are
Yeah.
you talking about? Oh, you're this, you're not this. And so I went to his page and he had his two sons as his profile. I was like, wow, you have such beautiful children. And then he was like, I love you. I'm so happy. Thank you. You're the best. And
Totally
then
flipped it.
yeah, because they're really obsessed with you,
Hmm.
and they're fans, whether they hate or don't hate. Like this one girl told me, she was like, "F you, you bitch, I don't like you." And so then she was a kid, she was like 14, 15, and I went in and commented on to where I said, "Hey, I don't know what you're going through in your life." I said, because life can be tough, but
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has ever told you lately that they love you, but I love you.
Wow.
And then people was like, see how you're being mean to her, you little bitch. They was going
They
in on
went
this.
in. They went in.
And I'm thinking then she's a child, but other people don't care if you're a child, if you're
No.
doing adult type of hate. So then she was like, I really like her. I love you too. And she just wanted to say nice things. So it's like,
She
and then
flipped it.
some people comment positive stuff to you all the time, and you don't notice because hate, it sticks out. It sticks out in red.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll see all these positive. You're not identifying the particular person that said something positive, but you can always come in with an eyeglass and spot the person that, and you'll look at their profile. But you don't do that with positive comments. And some people, they'll positive comment you for a long time, and then when you're not noticing them, they'll start to hate.
I
It's a lot going on with these people in these comments.
that there's a lot. There
Some
was
of them are just ugly, girl. They
a
ugly.
it's a hard to go through the life ugly. There was a time when I was with my family and we were all at a free like a concert in the city center, like Green, and we were seeing Little Richard, and I was real little, probably like maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I was in the back and I'm standing next to my aunt and Little Richard's on stage, but we were like way in the back of the grassy knoll area, and I just start going boo, boo, and I start booing Little Richard, and my aunt grabs my arm and she's like, why are you doing that? Why are you booing him? Not like he would even notice, the crowd was so big. And I go, because if I boo him, then he will bring me on stage and then I can hang out with Little Richard. And she goes, no, that's not how that's gonna work. And I was like,
That's
oh,
actually
okay.
great logic because sometimes it does happen like that.
Yeah, but that's my 5-year-old mind was like, if I boo Little Richard, he'll bring me on stage. And my aunt was like, please stop booing him. Now for the new year, positive person, successful woman, trailblazer, comedian. What is some goals? Do you have a big overall goal you can share with us that gets some people inspired for 2022?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Get some television and TV shows made. But if
Yeah.
not, continue to live on social media because it's a great place for me where I do very well.
Yeah.
And but it's always like, those list of goals, because when you first start out, you have this mindset of where you want your life to be. So my mindset is to start to achieve and knock some of those things down.
Good.
And continue to prosper, you know what I mean, and do
Yeah.
well. And at this point in the times that we live in, just stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wish you nothing but health. And as Daphnique said, she wants to continue to thrive on social media. So if you want to follow her, which you should, add some positive content to your life, some funny content to your life, her social media on all platforms is I am D Springs. You can also go to her website, imdsprings.com. Daphnique, for 2022, is there anything we can plug, anything you want to say, or just tell the people to follow you?
Yeah, follow me and then show up for season 2 of my podcast, Unapologetically Daphnique. I'm gonna have Rocky on there too.
Oh, that would be great. I would absolutely love that. And any podcast listeners, we call my listeners here, we call them the Party God Squad. Party God Squad, if you love podcasts, you will love season 1 of Unapologetically Daphnique. So check it out. Put it on your queue. Catch up before season 2 comes out.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Daphnique, it has been such a pleasure to have you on this show. Thank you for sharing your Wild Night story. And you and I will talk soon, all right?
Okay, bye.
Bye.